Okay, so now we have our router set up from the output that's basically going to take that output that we have from our brain of the social media content, and now we can establish that content individually with more focus and basically fine-tune it with sub-agentic decision process making. How do we do this? Well, we can now add to our routers basically 4 new LLM processes for individual output per platform. So, what do I mean by that? Well, let's start with one, for example, and then we can build from there. So let's create a new module here on the right, and again, we'll go with OpenAI. And now the beauty is, because you're connected, we don't have to do that again. We're going to do create a completion prompt. All right, it's going to check the connection. It's going to ask us to select a method. We already did, so we're going to select a model. We'll go ChatGPT 4. If you want to go faster, you could do a mini. It's really all about the post, right? So we want to add a message. We're going to set this to user, and we want to grab what? Well, remember, we want to grab that content, and we get the content basically from OpenAI here in our choices in the message content. This is really what matters. Message.content, we drag it in. And voila, we don't have to do any coding. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, all right, of make.com. Okay, so it's not enough to do this. Now we have to prompt this sub-agent to basically make the decision of how it's going to work. How is it going to take this information and further interpret it? Well, we want this to act as a social media manager. So let's go ahead and say your task is to create engaging, creative, let's be specific. And because it's going to be per iteration. So your task is to create an engaging, creative post for Facebook that will resonate with people who are excited about AI agents or curious about technology in general. Then we want to get specific, so we can say your post needs to highlight one key trending point which will likely be interesting or be captivating and help generate views and engagement. Okay, so keep it focused and decide, so keep it focused is fine. Okay, what else can we add? So notice what we're doing here. We're basically training as if we were taking a managerial role and instructing our employee, listen, this is how you need to do it. Keep it focused, create an engaging post. It's NLP, we can just speak to it. But we have to remember, it's not a person, it's going to interpret the keywords. And then there's a few more parameters because it's not a person. There's certain tweaks we need to say, like do not start your post with words like post or what you're about to do, because your response will be the post itself. So only provide the post itself as if it's being posted. Okay, I have to really make sure that understands that. Otherwise, it can say, "Here's your post," blah blah blah. We don't want that. And make sure to make phrases short because of the attention span these days of the world, including myself, and paragraphs between each one. Separate things nicely. Nice and clean, That's how I like it. And then finally at the bottom we could say make sure you share one link that highlights your main point from your post. And then finally we could say do all of the above given the information you are receiving below. Beautiful. Okay, so that's quite some prompting. It's a bit more intensive and a little bit more integrative than what we've done up to this point, right? We did some prompting before. We took a look and we were like, well, okay, we had certain parameters. Here, we set up what the task is. We focus on the delivery of the task. This is basically the fingerprint. This is basically the focus. These are our conditions, okay? We also add more parameters, and we tie everything in with the information below. It's very similar to programming. And it's funny, you know, I've worked as a developer for maybe 7 or 8 years, front end, full stack stuff, and I've worked with stakeholders in startup companies, and talking with them, I remember one conversation where we were reviewing a contract. Gentleman that I was speaking with, you know, we were talking about the contract, said, you know, these contracts, they can get so complicated. I really need to have a lawyer look at this. And he kind of laughed and said, well, you know, it's funny. It's kind of similar when we talk about these terms and definitions and conditions of a contract to programming. It's just in the language of the law as opposed to the language of the computer. And when you're prompting, it's kind of in between both. It's the English language, or whatever your native language is, coupled with the interpretation of the program. And so you kind of have this funny middle ground. And if you think about it that way, there's something so interesting about that, I find. It's just so fascinating. And I feel like we're at such an interesting time for that. Anyway, just wanted to share that anecdote. But let's go ahead and save. And there we go. That's awesome. Okay, so that's our Facebook sub-agentic program ready to go. Let's run this and see what we get. So we're going to run. All right, so it looks like so far everything's successful. We're running into the router now, and we'll see what we're generating. Okay, so we have a response over here. Choices, collections, messages. Let's see what we got. Okay, look at that. So I like already how we're not starting with, here's your post and blah, blah, blah. What if artificial intelligence could design our buildings of the future? Sounds like the stuff of sci-fi. Not anymore. This is awesome. In the shifting sands of AI, there's something incredible brewing in the intersection of architecture, engineering, and construction. AI agents are making their mark. This is great, guys. Want to navigate the AWS cloud? What are AI agents? Okay, so there's the link. There's some hashtags. Let's see if this link is legit. I want to make sure. So we're going to copy the link. Looking good. Looking good, guys. Looking good. Okay. All right. So I love it, guys. So you should be getting a successful output. If this is working for you, congratulations. If you're running into an error, you need to reconnect. You're off, whatever it might be. Maybe the post didn't turn out the way you want. Now is the time to fix that. Get in gear, because in the next lesson, we're going to complete this series. I'm going to challenge you to complete some stuff on your own. We're going to test you, see how your knowledge is and how you're feeling about things. Of course, don't worry. If you don't want to do it, I'll just do it anyway, because, you know, these are the lessons. But let's keep going, guys. I'm excited to move along. We're moving nice and steady. So I'll see you in the next lesson.